Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Just give us one moment. We're letting people in. Good morning. Give us 1 minute. I see people coming in. We'll kick off in just a second. Okay, good morning. Welcome, everybody, to today's webinar, From Lead to Loyal Client, co-hosted by Loyalsnap and Studio Grow. We encourage you to put your questions into the Q&A while we're presenting. We are making sure that we'll have plenty of time to go through them, so please don't be shy. And with that, I'm going to kick it off and head it over to you, Nathan.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kristen. Well, great to meet all of you. I see a lot of familiar faces joining in the attendee list, but I'm just going to kick off introducing myself. My name is Nathan. Many of you know me, but if you don't, I work over here at Loyalsnap and I lead our accounts team. So I oversee a lot of the strategic accounts that we work with and help them optimize the use of Loyalsnap to get the most productivity out of the platform. And then I know Lisa for, oh my gosh, how long now? Like 5 years, 6 years? It feels like a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself, Lisa.
Hi, guys. I'm Lise Keeker. I'm the founder here at Studio Grow. Just so you have a little bit of background on me, I was a longtime studio owner. I own studio owners from Washington State, all the way across the country to South Carolina, south from Mississippi, all the way north to Minnesota. Studio Grow was supposed to be this fun side project. We had about 250 studio owners over the course of about a 5-year period wander through our doors, just wondering what we were doing differently. And at some point, one of my managers said, "I'm done. You're not allowed to send another person in to sit with me in on this." And we started Studio Grow in response to that. And in 2016, about 8 months after we started, I got unsolicited offers on all of our studios. Studio Grow is growing rapidly. Now, at this point, we officially are hiring our 60th employee, which I am so excited. They start in October. We have about half of our team here in the United States. Half of our team is abroad. We have our 45th country. We started in 2 weeks ago on where this is. And we work with just a wide variety of people. You know, our team is full spectrum. So you have someone like me who comes from more of a sales, marketing, and operations perspective. We have digital media buyers. We've got marketing strategists. We've got attorneys. We've got accountants. We've got finance experts and financing experts. But what I found on this is that it all starts with the ability to take a lead and turn them into a member. Like, this is really just the very beginning of everything. If we can't get to the foundational pieces, which in my mind, you start with a foundation. Do you have a profitable business model? Do you have the pricing that really supports that? And then what sits right on top of that is sales, marketing, and retention. And that's really what it means to turn that lead into this, not just a member, but I love the fact that this is a loyal member and client. Loyal meaning that they're going to stick with you for the long term. So I know we're going to talk, and I feel like it's one of the benefits of having known Nathan for a very long time is that this gets to be our conversation. So I'm eager to talk through some of kind of just the best practices, but to also go much deeper into it with your questions as we're moving on ahead. You know, Nathan, anything you want to share? Anything you want to add?
No, I love it. I'm really excited to dive in. Like you said, loyal client was kind of our play on words with Loyalsnap as well, right? Like we were like, how can we fit in the software and how this is going to support you and creating those loyal members that stick around for years to come. So I'm really excited to for you to share all of your knowledge and then for us to dive into how you can do that in Loyalsnap. So let's just dive in.
Let's kick it off then. All right. So guys, one thing I want you to understand, it doesn't matter whether you have like an epic sales team, whether you have the best marketing on the planet, whether you have a killer experience. Nothing matters more than the right communication. It's interesting, but last year at the end of the year, we surveyed 60,000 studio owners on our list. They represent well over 100,000 studios. When we looked at the number one problems people came to us in, the number one problem was team, followed right behind it, like 2% behind it, by communication. So whether it's marketing communication, whether it's communication amongst your team, whether it was communication with your new members, we knew that this was the critical problem. It doesn't matter if you send more emails. It doesn't matter if you send more texts. It doesn't matter if you put more signs up across your studio. It doesn't matter if you have more team. It doesn't even matter if you have more time, which tends to be the thing that's the most limited for all of us. If you do not have the right communication, and I'm going to actually take it one step further and say the right communication at the right time, you have a significant problem. Now, when you think about the client, I think about a story that goes with them. Like, what does a typical client look like on this? And for most of them, they're going to walk through a product stack. Now, sometimes I get people who say, hey, product stack, is that what I sell? Like Pilates or bar or yoga or cycling or personal training? That's not exactly what I mean. I'm thinking about the products I want people to buy, that I want them to escalate through, that's going to take them for a long-term time. For most of you, the very first thing someone buys is an introductory package. Normally someone's become a lead. And by the way, let's just take a hot second and let's address what a lead is. For me, a lead is very simple. It's someone who gave you their name, their email, and ideally their phone number. All you've gotten is their information. They're saying, I'm interested enough in you to share my information. Your very first job is to figure out how to take that lead, which is hiding over here, and which may come from a lot of sources, and turn them into an introductory package. Nathan, just so I have an idea on this, right now, where is Loyalsnap pulling in leads from automatically?
Yeah, we pull them in from either the booking platform, or we pull them in from Meta, Facebook, however we want to call it. So we have a direct integration with Meta, or we have the direct integration with the booking platform.
Okay. So looking in at this, you know that if you've got a lead that comes in through whatever booking platform you're on, they're going to land in Loyalsnap. If you have a lead that comes in through some type of, and I think it's specifically going to be a lead gen ad through the Meta platform. So Instagram and Facebook being the primary two pieces of that platform, you know that they're going to land in Loyalsnap. Now, I'm going to be remiss if I don't say that is like 50% of your leads. I want to make sure that you're aware that you have a lot of leads that you are going to have to capture on your own. And that's okay. No one can capture somebody who pops into your Instagram DM. You probably don't want Loyalsnap in there anyway. Let's be honest on this one, as nice as that would be in some ways. But that lead that pops into your Instagram DM, the lead that emails you, the missed call that you just got 20 minutes ago while you were teaching, the person who walks in with a friend, the person who shows up to your event. I want to make sure that you do have a means to capture those leads, because when we go in and we assess and we say, okay, where do all the leads in the world come from? 50% of your leads are not going to come from what automatically lands in Loyalsnap. That's going to be on you to recognize and go forward in that. Now, ideally, you take that lead, and because we've had the right communication at the right time, they purchase an introductory package. Your introductory packages are going to vary wildly. Some of you are going to have a free first class. Some of you are going to have a 2-week offer. Some of you are going to have a high ticket 4 or 6-week offer. Whatever means they're coming in during that time, you hopefully once again have the right communication that takes you in to a class package or a 12-month membership. I'm not going to lie. My goal for you is that at least 40% of people are buying a 12-month membership, if not higher. And if you're sitting below that right now, this is a sign that we've got some radical changes we can make to the communication platform, and how we can use Loyalsnap can be wildly different to really increase this. Now, based on your product stack, we might want to take people to the next level. Maybe they've been a part of this membership, but we recognize that we've got some ancillary services. I've tossed in the massage upsell. It could be any number of different things that you have here. Maybe you know that somebody is coming to your studio regularly enough. They're really increasing whatever their practice is that you're doing on, and they're looking not even necessarily to become a teacher, but for significant personal development. Now it's time to take someone into level 1 teacher training. Maybe we're going to guide them from there into a level 2 teacher training. Maybe eventually we're going to be like, we love each other so much, you're going to get on a plane with me. You're going to Sardinia. Okay. You have to love someone a lot, by the way, to get on a plane with them and spend a week with them in Sardinia. I once thought that I could do it just because it was Sardinia. I promise you have to love the person. I want to be crystal clear on that. But if this is your product stack, this is the story of a client that we're trying to tell. If you cannot convert that lead initially, and you cannot continue with the communication among each of these journeys, we never get to the end of this. You know, that really loyal client, the client that's with you for years and years and years to come, they're the client who's going to walk through all of these steps. Nathan, you know, I know this is something, yeah, for those of you who don't know Nathan's background, I'm a little biased on this because I think he's amazing. You know, Nathan was the manager in an extraordinary studio organization down in Texas. He did incredible things. I was blessed that he worked with me here at Studio Grow. But I got to ask, if I rewind back to when you were sitting in the studio, what were the hardest things to get somebody to go down this journey?
Yeah, gosh,
I know,
there's
taking back years.
right, we're going back years. Um, Really just getting the opportunity to connect with them, right? Learning about them was one of the biggest challenges, and not having the systems or the tech in place to be able to do that. You know, a lot of times I found myself knowing I needed to follow up with people, but where and how do I do that? And how am I getting their information? And now what are the best questions that I should be asking them that is going to help me build trust with them and learn about them and move them through. So it was really kind of like that piece of understanding where people are at within each portion of these buckets.
I think let's just touch on two things, because I think you said two really important things. The first is, what questions do I even need to ask?
Mhm.
And I think so oftentimes, you know, it's funny. I just had this conversation with a studio owner. They have 20 some odd locations. Okay. This is somebody who's really incredibly successful. And he said, I still wonder sometimes whether I'm asking the right questions at the right time. You know, when I've got a lead that's sitting in front of me, first thing that I want you to understand is whatever marketing channel that lead came to you on is the marketing channel you're going to want to respond to them on. So if somebody came into my Instagram DMs, I'm going to DM them back. If somebody came into email, I'm going to email them back. If I got a missed call from somebody, and yes, apparently because I don't do this makes me like a millennial. Just need to be very honest.
I did the same thing, don't worry.
Every time I do this, I'm like, dang, I'm not that old. But even though if that's the case on this one, you call them back. You know, I want you to ensure that you're communicating in the right way. And that solves 90% of the problem. The second thing is, like, what are the first questions you need to ask when you get a lead in? And there's a few things that come to mind. The first question is, I always ask if it's okay for me to start the conversation and ask a few questions. So whether I'm over email, whether I'm over SMS, whether I'm over, you know, the telephone, whether somebody's walked in, it's like, hey, do you have 2 minutes that I can just ask you a couple of questions so I can redirect where we need to go with this? So I make sure I've got all the information I need to give you the best answer. Okay. The power of asking for permission to take control of the conversation is an insanely important step that I would say 99% of people miss. The second thing that you can ask, just a very simple thing, no matter what channel somebody comes in on, is just, hey, what brought you in? Like, what are you really looking to do? You can probe deeper, you can go more, but for that initial thing, it is as simple as, hey, what's bringing you in? Might be, hey, I'm just looking for a new yoga studio. Hey, I've never done barre and it's worth a try. Hey, I chatted with somebody and they referred me in. You're going to get some fantastic information just by a very simple question that, by the way, is a natural question. Okay, this isn't us doing some crazy sales process. This is naturally what you would ask anybody coming through. The second thing that I would almost always ask is if they're a lead is, fantastic. Well, it sounds like we're ready to get you in. I've got times available at X and Y point. When can I get you booked in? Guys, I do want you to know that when you have a lead, there's two rules of thought that we have. But 80% of boutique fitness falls into a rule of thought that this is all about selling an introductory package immediately. And if you have a really low ticket introductory class package or a first class free or something like that, it's fine. You probably will just sell them immediately. That's an easy thing where you can bypass because you've made the barrier to entry so low that no one even needs to worry about it. But if you're a small group training studio, if you're a personal training studio, if you're a group studio who's doing a ton of sales, but your intro package is over $50, I would say that it's absolutely okay to say, hey, I'll get you set up on our introductory package when we get here. Let's go ahead and get you through the door and get you booked in. It is up to you how you do this. Normally, when you get someone booked, that's when you can tell them the time, tell them the price, and say, let me go ahead and get you set up on this. They're going to know this. This price should be plastered on your website. It has probably been listed in a number of social media posts. These are things that they're probably going to be relatively familiar with, but I'm okay just to go on ahead and get them booked to get them over the hurdle and have everything set up. I want to say it's an easy and simple thing because in my mind, my goal is not the introductory package. My goal is to have someone walk into my studio. Okay, I can't stress that enough on this. The amount of growth and the amount of leads that come from that is incredible on here. Now, you've got the lead. I do want to dive into a few things on this one. The right number of leads. So let's just go ahead and let's talk through this. And I'm going to walk through a few of these slides over here because the question I always get is, okay, I've got leads. Do I have the correct number? And we've spent a huge amount of time this year and a ton of data working with different software partners of ours, working with our own list, working with our own clients, working with just massive surveys that we've done. And depending on your studio size, I want to walk through the number of leads, the number of intros, and then the number of memberships you should be selling each month. Now, a private studio is going to do privates, duets, and trios. Okay. You're never going to see more than 3 people at a time. You're looking for 1 to 2 leads every single day, somewhere between 30 and 60 leads a month. If you're a private studio, these leads are largely not going to come from paid Meta advertising, but they're highly likely to come from paid Google advertising. They're going to come from social media. They're going to come from word of mouth. They're going to come from referrals. These are people that are going to be popping through on here. A small group studio is between 4 and 9 people at a time. So for some of you that are like, hey, I have a small group training studio, I may have a reformer studio, but I'm not the 16 bed or God forbid, we've seen more and more 20 and 24 bed reformer studios. I am truly like an intimate reformer studio. We're looking for somewhere between 60 and 90 leads a month, 2 to 3 leads every single day on average. A mid-sized studio, you're between 10 and 19 people on here. We're looking for somewhere between 4 and 10 leads a day. And this is a significant number of leads. I don't want to dance around this on this, but really looking for upwards of 300 leads in a month that were coming in, all dependent on your membership goals. Large studios, so you're above 20 people in a session. I've got 10 to 20 leads daily. I have to tell you, my biggest studios are probably coming upwards of 40 to 50 leads daily. These are the people that might have 2 63 person yoga rooms. We're really pumping this and we're looking to fill a massive amount of people, 120 people in at every peak time that we have because we've got 2 different rooms going at this one. That's where we're going to start to look for a massive amount of leads. Now, how many people on here, and Kristen, and I don't know if you or Nathan are going to be able to see this in the chat. How many of you guys know that you're getting the right number of leads in right now? Can we see that?
Yeah.
Everybody should be able to type their answers into the chat and I can, but give it a second and then I can let people know what's been read out. So everyone, she's waiting, jump in.
Okay, good. Guys, drop it in. You know the size studio you have. Are you getting the right number of leads? Let's go on ahead and just start there. I do want to make sure, I can see them. Yes. Oh, I love seeing Lindsay Raymond on here. No, not getting enough. Okay, guys, let me let a few more of you on here. There are 50 of you. I've got to hear from more than 5 of you as we're dropping in here on this one. Just a yes or a no. Okay. So first issue that we see on this, because we're getting a lot of no's on here, is that we have 2 issues we're going to want to work with. So we're going to, 1, know that we need to have the right communication at the right time. But secondarily, we need to change how we're marketing probably on this one. Kennedy loves seeing this on here. We need to see a shift on what we're doing marketing wise. This means that from a marketing strategy and some type of implementation and execution perspective, we have got a massive opportunity. When you type in no, don't look at this as a failure. please look at this as an opportunity, because that's exactly what this is. This is something you can begin to fix immediately. So the second thing is the right number of intros. Okay, so are we selling the right number of introductory packages? So we've got the same exact thing. My private studio is 1, 2, or 3 people at a time, 10 to 20 intros a month, and that's normally all you need. If you are running a private studio, like we've got a great client in Bedford, New York. When you guys see Martha Stewart tagged in an Instagram post because she's going on Sports Illustrated, she tags her Pilates studio. That would be Bedford Pilates. I'm always in awe of that. They're running upwards of 10 private trainers at a time. Okay. They're probably going to take more than this, but typically speaking, an average private studio, 10 to 20 intros a month, small group training studio, 20 to 40 intros a month, mid-size studio, 40 to 120 intros a month, large studio, 120 to 450 intros a month. So we just played the lead game on this one. Let's play the intro game. Okay. How many of you guys are selling the right number of intros for your size studio? Let's just get an idea of this, because this is where we're really going to dig into this. Just drop it into chat so I've got an idea on here. Sarah, I'm loving the French no on this one. All right. This is where we're really going to have some opportunity on this. Yeah, so Kimberly makes a really interesting point on here, okay? Oftentimes what we're seeing is that somebody says, hey, I'm a large studio, but I'm actually getting the number of intros of a mid-sized studio. Or I'm a mid-sized studio that really wants to be in high growth mode. And if I want to be in high growth mode, I shouldn't be like where Catherine is saying, hey, I'm probably closer to 40. I want to be closer to the 120. Intros include first class free. Yeah, that is an intro for you. I'm going to assume if you have a first class free, you are typically speaking a large studio. That is where this goes. And by the way, for a large studio, if we're running a first class free, you really shouldn't be doing anything less than 250 of those per month. Okay, so that is an issue if we're doing anything less than that on where this is in first class free as your introductory package. Now, this comes down to memberships. Okay, this is what I would sell, assuming I'm in the right boat. 5 to 15 if I'm private, 10 to 30 if I'm small, 20 to 60 if I'm mid-sized, large studio 60 to 225. Go on ahead and drop in for me where you guys are sitting on this, just so I've got an idea. Just give me a yes or a no on here. Let me give you some numerical assumptions, because this is going to be really important as we get into our conversion rate. So I'm going to assume, and this varies wildly, but if I have the right communication at the right time, that 50% of my leads are going to become introductory packages. Now, by the way, guys, industry average on this is 18%. Okay, that comes from a couple of different places, including the BFS networks. One of their state of the industry reports last year. We have some numbers in there from the Fit Guide, and then from McKinsey, Deloitte, and from our state of the studio reports that we have done. If, for example, we know we're just not getting that we're at the industry average of 18, so we get 100 leads in, only 18 become introductory packages, the communication has some massive work to be done. And oftentimes you're getting more than enough leads, you're just not converting them. If you keep yourself at let's just say 20% conversion rate, let's just say you're sitting somewhere around average, you're sitting at a 20% conversion rate, you are going to need roughly 2.5 times the number of leads to get to the membership numbers that you want. And this is really critical, because this is where it impacts your marketing budget. You're spending money you just shouldn't be spending in order to go there. The second thing is we're going to make an assumption that these intros, that you're going to convert 50% of them roughly into memberships. Now, if you have a sales conversion process, okay, that is a problem, this is going to be your second opportunity. If that's not working and you're not really dialed into this, and by the way, sales conversion on this, I want to tell you, it is incredibly important that that process includes automations in a timely manner, ideally as personalized as possible. So in other words, you know how many classes they just took, therefore you can offer them one heck of a reward because they've hit their first milestone with you, all the way down to who their teacher was and things of the like on this one. But upwards to making sure that you've got personal points of communication. How many of you guys have a membership more than $150 a month that you're trying to sell? It's just, will you guys drop that into chat? Just give me a yes or a no. Look at this. Everyone says yes. Okay. So if I have a 12-month membership at $150 a month, that's an $1,800 purchase that somebody's going to make, spread out over monthly payments. To give you an idea, I've got a Samsung frame TV behind me. Kate normally has a fabulous picture on it. My father's been playing with it all morning. I cannot turn off what he has on it, which is a picture I hate. Therefore, my TV is now off. My Samsung frame, I bought on Black Friday. I probably paid $1,000 for it. I still went to the store to talk to somebody about a Samsung frame TV because I was spending $1,000. How many of you buy things with $1,000 and you think, I don't really need to have any information on this. I don't really need to have a conversation on this. I don't need this. You are asking someone to buy, probably on this call, because I've got some private studios on here, I'm sure as well, anything between an $1,800 purchase and on the high end of our top personal training studio clients, a $25,000 purchase. Okay. If somebody's going to spend that much money, you need to be able to have that conversation with them. It doesn't need to be a long conversation. We're talking a 5 or 10 minute long conversation, but do not discount this. It is so critical on where this goes. Chink in the armor number one, your conversion rate from lead to introductory package. The industry stats are dismal until you add a rapid response communication sequence. Nathan, let's talk about rapid response. What does that mean to you?
Within 15 minutes, like as quickly as possible as somebody comes through that door or comes through your lead list.
I love that. I love it. I want to say that the 15-minute rule for lead follow-up, it's really funny. I was poking around on Harvard Business Review because I was like, I wonder if I can find like the original, like, I don't know, they've got such a great like database of things going back for years. It's been around for 40 years. You know, honestly, once somebody had telephones that they could call people on, that's when this really came around on. But we know that this has been critical for years and years and years. It hasn't changed. Human behavior, as much as it changed over COVID, the crux of who we are as humans, that we are interested in something and we need a rapid response, it's been critical for a very long time. Now, guys, if you have after hours, Lindsay has a great point that she brings up on this one. If you have after hours follow-up, you do need to be abiding by your country's rules of when you can connect with people. So if, for example, somebody comes in and becomes a lead at 2 a.m., legitimately, we say that they can receive their first communication back at 9 a.m., at 8 a.m., whatever it is that is in range there. And to be honest with you, when we get after hours rules of that 9 p.m. to roughly 7 a.m., I don't see a shift or a change in conversion rate when we're delaying that on that one. In fact, if anything, if you have something that seems to be a very personal note back, something that could be construed as something that's not actually an automation, you suddenly have eradicated the know, like, and trust factor when that goes back to them at 2:01 a.m. because they know you're not sitting there awake. Unless you want to send like a picture of a newborn baby and you like rocking them or something with it. Like I think that that's really important on this. KPI, most of you guys are not tracking lead response time. One of the things that is one of my favorite studies, this was done, it's actually been done several times at Harvard Business School. But the original study, they analyzed 1.25 million sales leads that first tried to contact a potential customer. They were 7 times more likely to have a meaningful conversation of the people who did it within an hour versus those who waited an hour. Now, this is even like, hey, even just the first hour on where this sits. And average business's response time, though, in this study, 42 hours. So when is a lead dead? I want to be crystal clear on this because you will kill a lead that you probably paid a lot of money for if you do not get to them within the first 24 hours. That lead is dead from that point. Literally, our conversion rates on that goes from like 50% is what we're looking for to 1% if you don't have that communication on this one. Some interesting things that popped on into this. You can see that this is the study that this was based on. 0 to 5 minutes. Okay, these are people that are clearly using automations. Kimberly, yes, I said that a lead is oftentimes dead if you have received no communication after 24 hours. So let me be crystal clear on that. No communication after 24 hours. 5 to 30 minutes, 143 people. 30 to 60 minutes, 90 people here, 81, 1 to 2 hours, 90, 2 to 4 hours, 61, 4 to 8 hours. We really start to drop down. We have a big chunk more that are in the 12 to 24-hour period. Over 24 hours, notice it's almost equal to here. How about even scarier? The no reply. Guys, a number of years ago, I travel all over the world with my family a lot. And I was on a 6-week trip with my now 16-year-old. Nathan would probably be totally alarmed by this. He's 6'3" and has a size 15 shoe. I mean, it is like he's a man. And Remy was very tiny at the time, and I was popping around and I was calling studios normally, I don't know, a couple of days before I arrived. And I was actually looking for privates. I didn't want to necessarily pop into a class. I was working around some quirky times and things like that. And what I learned was just how many studios never called me back or called me back a week after I had left the area. By the way, I was reaching out over social media. So I was in their Instagram DMs. I was reaching out over email, and I was giving phone calls. The number of people that never reached back out and lost already easy $350 or $400 on me as a pop-in client was probably 70% of studios. So understand that the very first thing to recognize is that if you are not responding back, or you're not being respectful of the leads that are coming in that are not popping into Loyalsnap, that is one of the very first things I need everyone here to be aware of and willing to fix. So the ways that we counteract this: automated response. So ideally, for every lead that's coming in, you're going to have SMS-based response. It should be sent automatically upon a new lead in your database. Doesn't matter if it's from Google or Meta, it's somebody who pops onto your email list. We want it to, in a very personal fashion, acknowledge someone. The second is a personal response. And by the way, if somebody's in front of you at an event, guess what? You are going to personally respond to them. It's a very easy thing. They're sitting in front of you, okay? If somebody, though, emails you, if somebody pops into your DMs, if somebody has this, I want to make sure that you are getting notified, or you're checking. And we talk about that 1 hour point. You're checking, you have a little note that says check every hour on the DM. Like, just check these things where this is. Maybe it's not even every hour. Maybe it's like, oh my God, I can check at least once a day, because we know that if we get to them within 24 hours, they're still a live lead. Make sure that you put something that's realistic on that personal response. What are some ways that I can go about doing this? This is a quick and dirty rapid response automation plan. So immediately, out over SMS or WhatsApp. Lovely to meet you. So excited to have you in the studio. I've got some opening in the next few days. What's good for you? Remember, I'm going back to the idea that I really just want to have someone talk to me, want them in the studio. 1 hour later, I'm going to get an email with you. One of my favorite emails we designed recently. It's for a franchise that's growing internationally quickly. And they've got a couple of different ways people can come into them. And so we designed a perfect class matrix as part of their email. And it is one of the coolest things that I think we've ever done. And the response on that has been wild. It's simple. I'm like, why have we not done more of this? But it works so well. Contact number 3, 24 hours later, an SMS. Hey, I'm still saving a spot for you. I've got an opening tomorrow or the following day. So I've taken a step further. It's no longer me asking what's good for you. It's me saying specifically, which would you prefer? 48 hours later, I'm going to get an FAQ email out. Okay. This is something where I want to be going very quickly. This is an easy, simple thing that all of you guys can have set up. We consider this a lead nurture sequence. Okay. Where this works, clean, easy, and it appeals to all 4 buyer types. You're going to have 4 buyer types. Every single lead is going to be one of these 4 types. The spontaneous person, they are ready to buy. Okay. This is somebody who is like, here's my credit card. Let's get going. We all sing hallelujah when those people walk through our doors, because they are the easiest person ever. The methodical buyer, which is the vast majority of men, is ready to ask questions. Okay. They're not trying to annoy you. They genuinely just want the answers before they make a decision. The humanistic buyer, the vast majority of women, they buy because they've heard a story. And by hearing that story, they know that they can place themselves within that story, whether it's your story, whether it's one of your client stories. By the way, this is when we get into cool segmentation options of putting the right story in front of the right person. And Nathan, at the end of this, I'm gonna ask you just to maybe touch on that. The competitive buyer, you are not competing against something else. You are competing against their time. You're competing against everything. Okay. This is somebody who is going to be absolutely busy as can be. And by the way, we talk about consumer behavioral shifts. Pre-COVID, this used to make up maybe 5 or 10% of the population. Okay, it relatively no low amount. This number has doubled. Okay, we are competing against time-based issues now more than absolutely ever. Now, guys, when you engage people, understand, love this quote from Tony Robbins, engaging people is about meeting their needs, not yours. You are going to sometimes feel when we share all of these things that this is overkill. In fact, you might say things like, I wouldn't want to receive this, or I feel like this is over the top. And by the way, guys, I'm like a New Orleans girl who grew up on Emily Post. The first time somebody said you needed to send 3 emails to a lead on the final day of their introductory package, I was like, that is the rudest thing that I have ever heard, until I did it and all these people thanked me for it. Okay, I want you to understand it was not about my needs. It was about my clients' needs. And we need to have that on there. Now, let's assume you've got the automation down, your sales are up, your clients are already happier, but you want to take it one step further. It's time to get really personal. Now, Nathan, if we can talk for just a hot second about segmentation on this, and then I'm going to jump into the sales process.
Let's talk about
Go
it.
for it.
All right. Yeah. So let's talk about the segmentation piece of how things get personal. And, Lise, you touched on a few things that I think are really important, because the quote from Tony Robbins, to me, even going so far as that first text that you're sending to people, it can't just be about getting them scheduled or getting them on your roster. Quite frankly, that is a you problem, not a them problem, right? We want to get to know the person in front of us. So when we have the leads come through, that first text should be what Lee said. It's what you would say to somebody who's you're meeting for the first time. You're dating somebody. That's what we like to say, right? So what brought you in? When you ask the open-ended question in your immediate text message, you're going to get a lot more responses. And in Loyalsnap, when we see people make that shift from asking for first class versus asking for why are you here, we see them in almost many cases 80% more likely to convert down the line. So first and foremost, we want to make sure that your lead journey has open-ended questions all the way through it, and that is automated. That's something that you don't have to worry about. It's just doing it for you.
Yep. I absolutely love that. Now let's take a quick second. I'm almost done, but then I know Nathan is going to take this over for me. When we look at the industry average of conversion rates on this one, I know for Studio Grow, industry average, we've been tracking since 2017, that 5 to 15%. Here at Studio Grow, we've got a 56% average based on last year's State of the Studio report, is what we saw amongst our clients of what the conversion rate was. That is largely because we've taken it personally. We've really dove into the personal side of this. We're having real conversations. Now, guys, I think for a lot of us, we assume someone walks in, they know exactly what they want in our studio. We just assume that they know it. We may send a few emails, we may send a few messages. We hope that's enough to steer somebody on the right path. And guys, you know a lot more than they do. So I want to just touch onto some ways that you can really add this in and add that personal touch that goes above and beyond. The automated text message within minutes of a lead coming through, open-ended lead-centric questions that Nathan was just talking about. A dashboard category for a welcome call. Nathan, I know these are y'all, so I just realized that you guys have added a few things in here. Why don't you go on ahead and go through these on here?
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely talk to them. So, most of you already have the automated text message. We just talked about that. It goes through as quickly as possible. Of course, we are abiding by your local restrictions as well. So it's not going to go out at 2 a.m. And like Lise mentioned, you don't want it to go out at 2 a.m. In many cases, people know that that's an automation. We want them to think that it is you reaching out, even if it's not. The dashboard category for a welcome call. This is something that I see not very many people leveraging. And I think a lot of us like you were mentioning earlier, we put ourselves in the shoes of our clients thinking, I don't want a phone call. After I fill out a lead form, please don't ever call me. And that's not necessarily true. Even if they don't answer, having your voice come through in a voicemail and them hearing the sincerity behind why you're reaching out and just wanting to get to know them, it's going to link the text message and the automation together, and it's going to get them to engage with you, and they might call you back. And then we have the response template side of things, because most of you turn to Loyalsnap for the productivity reason. You need something that's going to help you be more productive. You need something that's going to help you seamlessly follow up with people. And the response templates are going to help you do that. So we'll dive into how you do that in a moment. But response templates don't have to just be your FAQs. Response templates can be how you continue to engage with a lead after they respond to you via text message. So let's say, Lise, you ask, you're my lead, and I ask you, what brought you in today? And you're like, well, I'm looking for, a personal training type message. You could have a response template for lead interested in personal training. And now your next question that you're just clicking 2 buttons for to input into that conversation is going out to them without you having to really think about, what am I going to ask this person?
Yeah, yeah. Some of the other things that I love are just a little bit more intimately, a little bit more personal in this. Grabbing a water bottle photo of an SMS, texting it with a sticky note on their name on it. It's one of those things that when people see this, when I'm doing a personal follow up, oftentimes I'll do this as the second text if I haven't heard back from them. Just like, hey, I've got everything in place. Can't wait to see you. A shot of the class schedule response, a shot of the class schedule template. So you may have a shot of your class schedule where you can just circle classes with availability that you can book them into. This is something that works really well, that as a picture image where you can send over, hey, here's what I've got availability on. Let me know where you want me to pop you in. And of course, any social media outreach, it's very, very typical to be able to reach out via social media, just across to somebody's DMs. Now, Nathan, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because I know you're going to be taking us inside of Loyalsnap now, and and jumping on in to show us how this works.
Let's do it. So I'm first going to start with the dashboard, and many of you already know the dashboard if you're using Loyalsnap. If you don't know the dashboard, if you're not using Loyalsnap, this is essentially your automated task manager. And I want to really touch on automated because you might already have a task system that is just spitting out tasks for you, but this is moving people through your dashboard automatically for you. So when we think about trying to make you more productive so that you can actually focus on the sales process, you can focus on the person that's in front of you, this is going to help you stay focused. Now, if you're on our premium tier, you have access now to edit these dashboard categories and create more of them based on what you might need to do. So you could create lead categories for the immediate phone call, for 1 day after, for 3 days after, and so forth. Then you get into your automations. So from your automation standpoint, you're going to have things for your leads that might be just connected from Facebook and Instagram, just going directly into Loyalsnap. They're not going into your CRM yet. Or you're going to have your booking platform leads because all of your leads are being generated there. And your text message, if we look at that automation, if you're looking at your text message and it is longer than 2 lines, let's go back, let's shorten it. You were probably asking way too many things or giving way too much information in that first text message. So I would really challenge all of you to take a look at it and see if you can edit that to be a little bit more client-centric. Ask the open-ended question, make it about them, not about getting them signed up or scheduled yet. And then we touch on response templates. So response templates are those easy to grab templates that you just plug right into a conversation. So if you go into your settings and response templates, you will see all of those here. You can see this is our demo account. So we throw in everything, like from the bathroom being broken to a construction update to a credit card decline. But if you think about a lead, let's say they've never taken heated yoga before, that can be a response template. How do you want to respond to that lead as they segment down that journey of never having taken heated yoga? How do you want to respond to a lead who has taken heated yoga, but they're interested in your studio? Why is that? Why are they interested in switching at this point in life? And so each of those can be set up as a template. And when you are in your conversation, whether you're in the app or you are in in this texting inbox here, you just plug and play directly from this screen. And in the app, you just plug it right in. And that's what we're thinking about here is how can you be more productive with your time, but still engaging with people? Because what we typically notice is when you get busy, you will stop engaging with people. You will just respond with sounds good, thumbs up or exclamation points rather than asking an additional question. So those are the main features that we really want to touch on. And if you are curious or you maybe don't really know what to do or how to get it set up, just reach out to our support team and we'll be more than happy to point you in the right direction. Awesome. Oh, you're on mute. Go ahead.
I was like, I've got to come back on this. Okay. All right. Well, I love this. Guys, it's funny. So I've gotten to work with Loyalsnap for a really long time. Two things that have always impressed me. One, you probably know this if you're part of a fitness CRM, is that the single biggest thing, and it's the one thing we always tell people when they're choosing a CRM, is ask about their support. The one thing that you have at Loyalsnap is you probably have the single best support team that I see in any software in fitness. And I don't mind saying that out loud because, it's one of those things that really matter. I think you are living with some of the best people who know what they're doing and who have expertise that go beyond just setting something up, but understand and they're really looking at what's actually working within it. Those are two very unusual things that I would love. Now, Nathan, do we want to take questions at this point?
Let's do it. Yeah, we've got plenty of time.
Yeah, I think we can get this. All right, tell me questions. Let's go for it.
The chat is open, folks, or if you would like to come off mute, you're welcome to raise your hand and I can unmute you.
I'm excited for this. After this,
Okay,
guys,
I see a hand raised. 1 second. All right, Mark, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Hey there, this is Mark. Appreciate this was really helpful. We are the studio's been around for a long time, but we are new owners. We're 3-4 weeks into this process.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we're very, very overwhelmed, and we've taken on all these systems and things that were in place. So we're trying to kind of figure it out. One of the things that they had in place here was, in order to sort of manage this whole process, they've hired a contract worker from another country through this Upwork system, and we're spending a good amount of money on that. I guess my question is that really required, or are there ways that we could figure out how to manage this ourselves internally, or is this like a 24-hour job to manage all of this?
No, but let's talk a little bit about this. Mark, I just real quick dropped you on into Google. Do you have an Eat the Frog?
I'm sorry?
Is the brand Eat the Frog?
Our studio?
Yes.
No, it's Society.
Okay, there's a Mark Pina from Eat the Frog Fitness.
Okay.
I love, and if you're like, oh my God, why did she just say that? It's an amazing franchise brand on this one. I was like, wow.
I'm like, oh great, one more thing I don't know.
It's okay. They're a little bit smaller and niched on the West Coast, so this is good. So Society Fitness, where are you guys located, first of all?
We're in Charleston, a city
right
outside of Charleston, Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, love it, love it, love it, love it. We spent a lot of time. We had a house in Aiken, South Carolina, and I actually had a software that launched and ran a bunch of Charleston's restaurant weeks. So I got to spend a lot of time there and eat an extraordinary amount of great food there.
It is a great place. So come visit if you ever like to consult for us. We'll hire you.
Oh, I have to say I love Charleston. You do not have to twist my arm to come your way. Well, let's talk about a few things that are unique in the Charleston market, and then let's jump on over to the question of whether or not we hire some type of outsourced team member. So first of all, just a couple of things, just observations on the Charleston market. So Charleston and Mount Pleasant have become some of the busiest markets in the country. And this is a market where you're going to be, have a very competitive market. Mount Pleasant, easier than Charleston proper in the sense that Charleston proper is very old school, and I'll call it a little bit cliquish when it comes even to the fitness studios that it is. Mount Pleasant, it's one of the fastest growing communities, certainly in the Southeast.
Yeah.
So a huge amount of opportunity, but the competition that goes with it. When I look at an org chart and I'm building out an org chart, my first question is are there going to be tasks that I am going to want to outsource to somebody that is either they're going to be tasks that I'm going to be forced to pay someone something in the United States, it's not a livable wage, or they're going to be tasks that I am going to be forced to pay someone something that I just don't have in my budget. Now, I happen to be a huge fan of having full-time virtual assistants. I've got team members all over the world. I have a number of team members in Latin America, for example. I tend not to go through the Philippines, which is what you're going to see most virtual assistants look like. I also prefer not hiring through Upwork, because Upwork is going to charge a 25% fee to your assistant who's coming through there. Upwork then is going to means that you're going to pay 25% more than you should pay. Now, depending on where you're at outsourced wise, you should be looking for full-time work anywhere between $900 and $2,000 a month if you're hiring in the Philippines to Latin America. Some people will say you can hire for less than that. I don't think you can hire quality for less than that. But having someone at that price point who's full-time, who is able to do things like manage your member journey, handle the tech support for this one. So in other words, they're updating your CRM, they're making sure that your social media is plug and played and updated. They are potentially doing things like bookkeeping. They are ensuring that customer service is being answered in a timely manner. That tends to be an excellent investment. The one thing that I would tell you is that in studio, you are looking for someone to be in ROI driven roles. So they need to be in roles that either produce income because they're teaching classes, they're having privates, or they're in a sales driven roles that are really going to open up and allow for revenue to come through. Outside of that, I am very comfortable shifting administrative tasks to a really strong either virtual assistant or operation manager who is overseas. Do you mind me asking what you're paying for this role?
Well, I was actually just looking at that. I think it's anywhere from like 150 to 170 a week for this.
And what's the primary things that they're doing?
They're 100% working in Nathan's app program. So they're managing all of the leads, the responses, the text messages, the template stuff, which and part of what I struggle with is like I see them and I'm like, I know personally when I get one of those, I know that it's been generated by somebody in another country that has a text template, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm like, part of me is like, how do we personalize that? But yeah.
So it's getting the right person, one who has a native, not, I don't want to say native language, but language fluency. In this case, you're sitting with English language fluency. So making sure that you have somebody who essentially, on my team, everyone who's overseas speaks fluent English. I would argue in some cases they speak better English than parts of Louisiana where I grew up. And so in this case, they're able to actually have a real conversation. They can move from a template to a conversation, because understand that these templates are designed to not be the communication, they're designed to start the communication.
Yeah,
and so I think the first thing that I see on this is I'm not sure you have the right person if it's staying entirely templatized. I do think it's not a bad thing if most of your client and lead journey is being covered by $600 a month. I don't think the price point is necessarily terrible, although I'm telling you that from a broad perspective without looking at your projections and pro forma on that. But it seems like that you maybe have the wrong person they are setting up the templates and answering, but they're not actually communicating. And so that's what I'm hearing as I see this. And in that case, I would say that this role in many studios is going to be a role that is outsourced out, and outsourced out of the country, but outsourced to ideally a full-time team member who's really managing it, or a team member who's salaried at 20 hours a week. So I feel like there's a couple of great agencies that you can go through. Knowing your East Coast, I would look in Latin America. Do you know where are they located right now?
I believe they're in South America.
Yeah. Okay. So making sure that you go through, and I think this is going to be something where I would want to have an onboarding and training program, just like you would for a team member, though, that's sitting in house,
Yeah.
and having that onboarding and training of like, you've started a communication. Now, how are you going to finish it? And we're literally role playing over text and over those things for them to get your language right. Sounds like that's got to be a critical part of the onboarding.
Got it. Okay. And I apologize. She's in Panama. I don't know if it.
Yeah, that is. That's so the southern part of Central America, just like you're moving to South America.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was super helpful. I appreciate it. We're just getting our arms around all of this.
I mean, I'm sending you a lot of love. This, when they say like drinking through the fire hose, I was on with somebody earlier today and they're like, it's okay, I'm on fire. And I'm like, that's how I feel like you are in this situation right now. I know you're just diving deep into there. And it's tough because that's when the whole operations need to be reviewed and make sure that operational support is where you want it to be.
And that's what we're doing. My husband and I bought the studio together.
Love it.
He's running most of the operations the day to day. I'm trying to get the finances and the marketing strategy together. And you're right, it is drinking from a fire hose. And but yeah, this is very helpful. Trying to join as many of these as we can and just learn.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, good luck on this. I'm excited for you. I love it. Anybody else? I love the raising your hand part of this. There's nothing better than talking to people.
Yeah, we have time for one more question. If anybody wants to raise their hand, I can take them off mute. Excuse me, or y'all can put it into the chat. No? Okay. Well, that looks like this is the place to end then. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been fantastic. We will send out a recording of this. If you have questions, you are welcome to reach out to anybody here. Reach out to Lisa, reach out to Nathan. But we thank you for joining us and have a great day.
Great, y'all. Have a good one,
Bye.
guys. Happy weekend. Bye, y'all.